Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. Hope your day is off to a great start. It is another in-depth candle review day here on my channel, and I am going to be taking you through two new fall 2024 country candle fragrances today. In this first video here, we are obviously going to be discussing the Almond butter cookie, but a little bit later on today, my thoughts on the pine cones and pomander fragrance will go live as well. So if you are not already subscribed to my channel and you are interested in more of my home fragrance content, definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button right below the video here. That way all of my new content will pop up in your subscription feed. Anyway, you guys, let's dive into Almond Butter Cookie. This is new for fall 2024, and if you are interested in picking this or any of the new country candle fall fragrances up, I'll put a link to Kringle Candle in the description box. My discount code is Melanie P, just the letter P. That will actually save you 15% off of your purchase at Kringle Candle. That definitely applies to these new fall fragrances as well as many of their sales. But do know that Kringle Candle typically does not put their new seasonal releases on any type of significant sale for a little while. Typically about a month or two into the original release, the candles are not included in any of their sales. So you can use that 15% to save a little bit. I always encourage people to start out either with the daylights or with the wax melts of any fragrances that they are not 100% sure about. This is one where I would actually highly suggest maybe picking up a daylight first, just to make sure that you are getting what you want from this fragrance. This one is kind of interesting because it smells like something completely different to my nose. So we'll kind of get into that here in a minute, but like I said, if you're interested in picking this one up, I'll link it down below, and let's go ahead and get started with the usual review style. So I am going to read you guys the little fragrance story. I'll read you the fragrance notes. I'll tell you what my nose actually detects with this one. We'll talk strength and throw and overall burn quality. I know there are still some questions about the wicks with Country Candle. So we will definitely address that when we get to the overall burn performance. By the way, this is not my permanent location here. I'm just trying some different filming areas throughout the house, and as I am recording this video, I can see that this is not going to be an ideal location. So I am aware that this video is probably going to be a little bit darker than usual, but bear with me as I test things out. All right. Almond Butter Cookie. Decadent notes of creamy pumpkin puree blend with a shot of rich amaretto and sugared almond laced with golden hints of maple-infused buttercream. Your top notes are sweet and vanilla. Your mid notes are almond and pumpkin, and then the base is maple and amaretto. Okay, so let me tell you, to my nose, this, for whatever reason, almost comes off as a banana bread with some maybe maple syrup incorporated. Maybe there's like a maple syrup like drizzle or something over the top of the loaf of banana bread. But I'm really getting some caramelized banana bread notes here. And I have no idea why pumpkin would come across that way to me, but I think that it's the pumpkin that for whatever reason my nose is interpreting as a kind of almost border, I would say caramelized banana. It's really interesting, but the maple is very distinct from that like caramelized banana note, if that makes sense. I do get like a touch of like that amaretto and almond. Amaretto is basically like an almond liqueur. I mean, it's delicious. I love to just have some Di Serono on the rocks sometimes, especially around the holidays, you know. But you can kind of detect that like slightly boozy amaretto in here. You smell like that almond extract note. There is a good amount of vanilla, like a creamy vanilla type note, which I guess could be that maple infused buttercream that they're mentioning here. Maple, again, very distinct to the fragrance as well. But for some reason, I think the pumpkin is turning into a caramelized banana to my nose. I don't hate this fragrance. I do wish it actually smelled like almond butter cookies though. That's just not what I'm getting here. I'm wondering if maybe they removed that quote unquote pumpkin from this, if that might actually give me more of like that cookie smell that I'm craving here that I'm just not getting. The maple is definitely, I would say it's borderline intense for at least my taste, but you have to know that I typically don't love maple in a lot of home fragrance. It tends to smell a little bit cloying to my nose, and this is a very sweet, borderline cloying fragrance to my nose. I thought I would enjoy this one a lot more when I had it lit based off of my cold sniff interpretation, but I think I actually like this better on cold sniff than I do having it lit. This is one where I would like to try it out in one of my candle crocks. I think that it might tone down that caramelized, really intensely sweet note that is kind of turning me off a little bit. For some reason, when you are just warming the wax that has that type of fragrance, it's just not as, I don't know if it's as powerful or as, maybe it's just not as intense. But anyway, there's definitely a big difference in how the fragrance will oftentimes present itself from when it's lit with, you know, the wicks versus just being melted either underneath a lamp or in a crock. I wouldn't say this is my favorite Kringle, like, gourmand fragrance. I do think those of you that like the maple, those of you that like the sweeter, more intense gourmands will probably enjoy this one. But if you are at all questioning it, please start out with a smaller format. I would hate for someone to pick this up and smell it and think, oh yeah, this is not for me at all. You can always go back and purchase the larger format if it is something that you really like. So, strength and throw. I will say it has been a very solid performer from the get-go. There are no fluctuations in terms of, you know, the first burn to this midpoint in terms of strength and throw. It's been a solid 7 for strength and for throw the entire time. This is a candle that does travel outside of the area where I'm burning it. It does not fill up the entire downstairs of our house, but it does fill a good amount of that space. It does a little bit better either in a candle sleeve or in a hurricane, but I would say the difference is probably kind of negligible. I don't think you need a hurricane for this one. It looks pretty in one, that's for sure, but it's not a necessity. I find the performance of this to be fine in a hurricane or without one. Burn quality, this is going to be really important because obviously Country Candle, since the changeover from the paraffin to the soy formulation, they've kind of been struggling with a few different aspects. As of late, some of the wicks were less than ideal with a lot of these Country Candles. But they did make a change with the summer limited edition collection, and personally I've had a great experience with those wicks. I am just finishing up the Blueberry Milkshake and the Juicy Peach this week, and those have been burning amazingly well, and I am within probably a burn or two of finally finishing those up. So good experience with the summer with this changeover, and I gotta say the consistency is also there with the fall. So far so good with all of the wicks. Let me go ahead and turn this to the side here so that you can maybe see these. Oh, this lighting's not going to work at all, is it? Okay, so I'm going to put you up a little bit closer here. Can you see those nice tall flames? They're not too tall. We have a lovely deep wax pool here. That wax pool is definitely a solid inch, I would say. These are burning quite warm. I wouldn't say obnoxiously hot, but they are quite warm. So definitely keep that in mind. I am trimming the wicks ever so slightly with each subsequent burn. I basically just nip off the top like carbon balls that form. And then I leave, you know, an adequate amount of wick to give me these decently tall flames here. I really wish this lighting was a touch better. I'll film the next video in my usual location. I just thought it might be kind of neat to have like the yard as the background, but I can see that that's not really going to work super well. So yeah, overall, I'm really impressed with the burn quality. I am not noticing a ton of soot collection at the top of this jar. I am going to go ahead and just, it's very hot, but I'll just wipe really quickly. There is no real discoloration on my finger here. I feel like it's got a pretty decent clean burn. Really no issues here for me overall, other than the fragrance doesn't really smell like what I would prefer it to, which would be an almond butter cookie. Again, it smells more of like a caramelized banana bread with a maple, I guess, a buttercream frosting type situation. So a totally different fragrance from what I'm expecting. And that makes it disappointing. I do think there is a definite contingent of the, you know, gourmand market here that is going to enjoy this one. So if you think you might like it, definitely test it out. For me, it will be a one and done. This particular one was sent to me in PR, so I did not pay for it. All opinions are still allowed to be my own. But yeah, this is one that I will not be repurchasing. There's definitely a few that I will be, including the next review that's coming up a little bit later on today. So definitely stay tuned for that. Please let me know if you have any questions about almond butter cookie. And if you happen to have picked this one up yourself already, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I think it's helpful for other people to see a wide variety of feedback about these candles. So definitely check out the comments section down below. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.